What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the NXTPRO show. The boys are back. Got Shanku, Nair, you got myself, Corban. We're here to rock with y'all on another great episode. A lot of fun. We had a great weekend this past weekend. Shanku, how's it going? Let's get right into it.
Yeah, what up, Corban? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm ready to roll.
Let's do it. Yeah, we did have an awesome weekend. Session 4 is in the books. I was in St. Louis. I know you were up in Centralia, Washington, in the northwest. But before we get to the coverage of both of those events, I just wanted to talk about some of the Pro16 teams that were playing across the country, and they did extremely well against some of the best talent in the country. So I think we should just talk about those teams a little bit.
Yeah, let's roll the tape. Did work across, like you said, the U.S., and so we're going to start with a squad that y'all should be familiar with. We had two guests from that team on, Nicholas Kamenya and Xavier Staten of BTAL United. They defeated the Nike EYBL Strive for Greatness, and that was behind two great performances by the both of them. And so you can see a little bit of a mix of both right now. Staten just getting it done down low, finishing around the rim, protecting the paint, and then also just doing what he does in terms of dunks around the rim. And then Kamenya, I mean, from deep.
Yeah, Bryce James. Bryce James is on that Strive for Greatness team, LeBron's son. So it's a big win for them. Wow,
really solid play between the both of them. So
100%.
Love seeing the dominance. Again, it was a pleasure having them on the show, kind of getting their perspective and their experience. But now you kind of see them putting in the work, and way to play, honestly. Way to play.
For sure. Another team that had another successful weekend was Kuz Elite. They had two big wins against two of the top 3 SSB teams in Southern Assault and Team Trae Young Elite. Tyrus Wrathan Mays continued to put on a show. He was awesome in Dallas 2 weekends ago in our regional Pro 16 event. But, I mean, he's a 6'5", 6'6" wing who just picked up an offer from Arizona State a few weeks ago, and he put on a show. The game comes so easy to him. He's a great playmaker in the open court, just has great feel for the game, can score from all 3 levels. He put on a show on the national level, and I'm not surprised at all, really.
You've been seeing the work. I get it.
Sure. Another team that has a chance to win it all on the Pro 16 this year is YGC, the duo of Chris and Knack, who we had on the show 2 weekends ago, top 20 player in the country, 6'10" big, moves like a wing. He's a future NBA player, in my opinion. There he is right there, picture of him. But him and Caden Edwards, their duo for YGC is truly one of the best in the country, and they will have a heavy load if they want to win this Pro 16 team. And the 2-man game with them could be really lethal if they start to click. So I'm excited to see that.
I love that for sure. For sure. Speaking of other teams taking care of business, getting it done, Team Museum and Rhode Island Elite both knocked off Canada Elite on the Under Armour circuit. Eric Iba, the big 7-footer, we got to talk about him. He showed his dominance throughout the event, and that something obviously really, really cool to see in terms of doing what elite big men do. You know, finishing around the rim, protecting the basket. Here's a little bit of a clip on him here. I mean, look at the dribbling. First off, like, talk about move like a guard.
Yeah.
That's smooth
skill.
Yeah, I'd be looking like him too. Showing the range from deep, so inside outside game there as well. You know, good footwork around the rim. This is a solid 2-way player, but someone who obviously can stretch the floor and show a little bit of the range there. I love a big man who can knock it in from range in addition to, you know, getting it done around the basket. So shout out to him for being able to take care of it on both ends.
For sure. Iba's really special. He was awesome in the pick and pop game up in Germany this past year, shooting 57% from 3.
Okay.
I mean, it's ridiculous efficiency. But another team that was awesome was the Southern Ties was awesome 2 weekends ago, but they also had some big wins 3 weekends ago against Houston Hoops, EYBL, led by Roman Miller, who had 24 points in this win. I mean, Roman's a special scorer, can score with the best of them. I saw him this past high school season, and he's taken a huge leap in his game, scoring from all 3 levels. Self-creation is among the best in the country, and he's one of the most under-recruited players, currently holds zero offers from any level, and I'm sure that'll change really soon.
Oh, yeah. Dude looks so smooth putting the ball in the basket. Obviously a shooter.
Yeah. He can
Man,
score
a
from
lot
out
of
the
open
wing.
shots too for somebody that can shoot. Yeah, and finish him above the rim.
He's 6'5" with plus wingspan. I mean, the ceiling's so high for him. So I'm excited to see how the summer goes for him.
I like that for sure. The Las Vegas Knicks, they took care of business. They beat 2 EYBL teams at 16U, going 2-1 in shoe games on the weekend. And speaking of the Las Vegas Knicks, we got to talk about Quentin Grimes. Not to be confused with the other Nick, Quentin Grimes, and the dunk that he had. Just solid play by him. And the squad in general. Again, way to take care of business and get it done. And again, shout out to Quentin Grimes for just tremendous play. Check that on Instagram if you haven't seen it. Like it's a clip to look at.
That was a nasty dunk by him. Another kid who had a big weekend was Miles Mayfield of One Family, who was our defending champs in the 17U age division for Pro 16. And they knocked off a loaded team in North Carolina at 17U. Miles Mayfield was a player who I think will really boost his stock this summer. Currently sitting around the top 150 range, but I think he'll be easily consensus top 100 kid by the end of the summer.
That's solid. And what do we know about Colorado Collective? Another high-ranked NXT team that beat a good team this weekend, apparently.
100%. Yeah, I talked about Colorado Collective last weekend, actually.
You did?
Yeah. And they have got 2 kids in Cole Schur and Kason Westphal, who are surefire D1 kids. They're currently ranked 39 in our next rankings, but as I said last week, I think they have a chance to win it all. So as they play some more games, they'll be sure to rise up those rankings.
That's awesome. Shout out to Colorado. I mean, listen, that's where I'm at right now. Like, I taking care of business, getting it done. Yeah. And like you said, great breakdown last week. And obviously, you see the work they put in after you broke them down this weekend. So something to keep looking back on. And also, I mean, if you didn't hear it, check out the previous episode because pretty good breakdown of them and so many other great teams.
For sure.
Speaking of that, how many wins did Pro 16 have? It was a lot of teams taking care of business, huh, Shanku?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had 9 total wins over EYB, three wins over EYBL, including Vegas Elite, Strive for Greatness, Houston Hoops, 3 against UAA and Canada Elite, X2 and Mountain Stars, and then 3 over 3 SSB teams in Trey Young, Southern Assault, and Team Loaded. So, I mean, huge weekend for the Pro 16 squads, obviously showing they can compete with the best of them.
Yeah, taking care of business, and we look forward to seeing more of that. Obviously, a lot more coverage on this show and through the rest of the year, but way to take care of and get done other circuits as well and show, hey, you know, we stand up with these. We can knock them down just as well. So really cool to see.
Yep, 100%. I agree.
You know what else is cool to see, Shanku?
I think it's top 10.
You think it's top 10? You right, it's top 10. It's time to get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, number 10.
Number 10, we've got Keon Cross from Como TNT with the slam. And watch it back. He gets smacked on the side of the head and finishes through contact. That's an N1. I don't know why they didn't call it, but
true.
He got smacked.
Speaking of N1s, we got Chance Handley. Back-to-back 3 points and 1. So hoop and the harm, the 4-point play. There's one. Other side, same result. Taking care of business. Way to follow through. Way to get it done.
That's got to be a rare play in basketball. But here is Tylen Ingram for Memphis Blazers with a nasty tween into a hezzy and then whips the dump off to Marvin Warren for the slam.
No.
That's nasty.
That's
against one of the best defenders in our circuit, too.
That is cool. All right, number 7. We got Mike Smith Jr. Get to Brandon Moore. Off the glass. Alley-oop. You got to love that. Perfectly placed. Perfectly done. Way to finish on the break and put a little flair on it, too.
For sure.
Solid.
Number 6, we've got class 26, Aiden Cronster with the block. He blocks the 3-point and then finishes above the rim.
Ooh.
Defense to offense. You got to love it from one of the top recruits in the country.
Way to get up.
Get on both ends of the floor, yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. Got Jaden Sauter to London Burton for the poster oop. Listen, don't fly with me. I say it all the time. He thought he had it. He thought wrong. That's not cool.
Here's Brandon Solomon Jr. for Strictly Ballers. He had 4 oops in this game. Here's just a little compilation. I mean, he was just flying above the rim. Nice passes from his guards as well.
Way to put it up there.
He was throwing them down.
Yeah, wait for him to come get it. Wow.
For sure.
Lob City for him. Number 3, Got Tristan Wiggins. Woo! Got the skirt. Oh, nah. Don't do that. Then he hits the three.
Whoa,
with the buzzer. Like, nah. I'm sorry, young fella. That's not cool.
Here is the KC Running Rebels 15U group in OT. Buzzer beater for the win. I mean, man, that's clutch.
Way to finish it.
Next bucket wins. That's clutch.
There you go. Number 1, got Christian Gilliand. What do you got here? Gets the ball, takes it up. Oh! Oh! No!
That's
It was bad. The defender went up like he had that 2K block animation. Like he was coming up to get on it. And instead, I'm sorry. Way to go up and try to defend. I will give credit to the defender for that always. But nah. Like, I mean, congratulations. You won number 1 up there with Christian. Way to get it done. That was the power on the dunk.
Part of the number 1 play, so respect.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't things like that. I would have just jogged back. Let me try to score on you. I'm sorry. I'm not telling defenders how to defend, because if they didn't defend them, like, you should have defended that. But on plays like that, like I said, don't fly with me.
Right.
No, I
agree.
Wow, that was one of the best dunks I've seen so far in this show.
Yeah, I think that might be. It's up there. I know we've had some great plays. But
I'm trying to draw back on the memory banks here, but it's definitely up there. Like that, I can safely say.
Yeah,
for sure. Whew, okay, well, moving on right on to that. We got some Pro16 talk. Shanku, let's get into it. What we got?
We do. So this weekend, Session 5 in Indy is our headline for 7 Pro16 teams, headlined by TLBA, which features Eli and Isaac Ellis. Their games will be center court in the stadium on court 8 at the Farmers Bank Fieldhouse in Lebanon, Indiana. This court sits 2,000, and we are expecting a sellout crowd. So be sure to get there early if you want to get a view of TLBA. Their schedule is as follows. Friday at 6:35 against United Pursuit, which is a big game. United Pursuit being a next team will have a lot of eyes on them. So this is a good chance for them to show out. They will also play West Virginia Gold on Saturday at 4:40, and then Grand Park Premier on Sunday at 11:15 a.m. and Rhode Island Elite at 2:30 p.m. on Sunday.
Got a full slate of games on a packed house too. Okay.
I'm excited. That gym is going to be electric the whole weekend to see Eli and Isaac Ellis. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Just looking at them, the way they play, getting buckets, like that should be a fun one for sure.
For sure. Eli Ellis was the MVP of the OTE League this past season, so he can go.
We know that for sure. We know that for sure. We have 1 of 1, a LaMelo Ball 17 U squad. There's 2 of them. One player definitely to watch, Javonte Ware. A 2025 top 100 nationally ranked player according to On3. Like, that'll be a player to definitely check out. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the games, how he performed. Like, definitely looking forward to being aware of his presence and how he put on a show, hopefully.
For sure. Another team that makes their debut this weekend in Indy is Grand Park Premier. They have got a kid named Ty Price, who is one of the most skilled point guards in the country. He holds 5 1 offers, so I'm definitely curious to see how he fares against some of the competition. He's obviously one of the best in Kentucky, but let's see how he does against the Pro 16 League.
Got WV Gold. Another scrappy group. NXT team a year ago. They were the top 1, and they moved just due to the talent in their squad. And they're 17. They're 17's what? You got Dame Givner, I think I have, and Jari Goodwin. Jari Goodwin on the wing. So I mean, you got a talented wing group up there. You got a really, like you said, scrappy, talented group as well. Like, that's certainly a team to keep an eye on.
For sure. Another team that will face TLBA on Sunday in their final matchup is Rhode Island Elite, featuring Kelvin Oda, who is a top 150 prospect in the country, according to multiple ranking outlets, including On3 and 247. He's a talented athletic guard. He can play above the rim, and then he's also a two-way guard. Defense is something he takes pride in and also excels at. So I'm excited to watch Kelvin Oda go at it this weekend.
There you go. And then, of course, we got one team best for last. We got to get into Team Museum. We mentioned him, Eric Iba from Germany, just had a great high school year, a great high school season, a top 50 prospect according to ESPN just nationally. And so just to see his game this weekend, very excited. You saw the clips earlier, the inside-outside game, like Shanku said, his ability to play in the pick and pop and really make you pay from both ends, the fluidity in his movement, especially when it comes to dribbling the ball, and all this in a 7-foot frame. That's a team. That's a team, and that's a player to definitely keep an eye on this weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree. And those are just 7 of the many talented teams that will be in attendance. But Eli Ellis on court 8, all 4 games will be one to watch for sure.
It's going to be popping.
For sure.
It's going to be popping.
Let's do it. So looking back on our weekend, I was in St. Louis for session 4. And one program in particular had an awesome weekend, going 11-1 as a program. So I've got a special guest joining us in their program director and head coach for all 3 of their teams, Liam Wolf. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm good, man. That
you're
picture's awesome. Didn't know you had that.
How's it going, Coach?
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's good.
I know you're tired. You're coaching all 3 groups.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting my voice back a little bit.
I can tell.
Get some recovery in there. I get it.
Yeah.
For sure. So Coach, we first of all, again, thank you for your time and coming on. We always like to ask, just how did you kind of get to where you are, both in your love and basketball and just in your career journey to this point? Can you kind of describe for Can you describe a little bit for us, kind of how you've gotten to where you are now?
Yeah. So I started PAC basketball 7 years ago when I was a senior in high school, actually, and it was funny because my dad. I wasn't old enough to even like book the hotels or rent the vans or anything. So my dad had to put his name on everything. But it just kind of came from a place of love of the game. And so PAC stands for passion, attitude, and confidence. It actually comes from my uncle who battles cancer. So, and he's a part of the program now. And he told me about that when I was struggling with basketball. So when we decided to start it, that was nothing else, but we wanted to call it. It kind of rolls off the tongue pretty good too. A lot of people will say PAC, but it's either way, but it's PAC. But other than that, I'm currently an assistant coach at one of the best high schools historically in Kansas, Blue Valley Northwest. And then before that, I was a graduate assistant at the University of St. Mary Small NAI school in Leavenworth, Kansas. And then I also played up there as well. So yeah, I'm from Kansas City originally. And I think there's a ton of talent in Kansas City. And I think it's an under-recruited area.
Awesome, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Watching Kansas this past season, definitely a lot of kids that deserve more recognition. And some of them are featured on your squads. You guys had an awesome weekend. And you guys had an awesome start to the season. Your 17U is 5-3, 16U is perfect 8-0, and then obviously your 15U is 7-1. But talk to me about kind of the way you constructed your roster. I see kind of some similarities between the play styles between the squads. Was that like a conscientious decision?
Yeah. So I have a guy I always kind of I reference the movie Moneyball a lot. His name's Ethan Rollet. He's actually a frat kid at K-State. But he knows Kansas City basketball like nobody else. Like he'll find people, send me them. He watches, NFHS, all the streaming sites, sends me kids. But the biggest thing that we think we like to do is there's not a whole lot of AAU that emphasizes defense, sprinting to spots, rebounding. So kind of our non-negotiables that we talk about as a program are, playing defense, rebounding, and communication. And when it came to that's awesome right there. When it came to building the rosters this year, we had our 16U did really well last year. We lost a few pieces kind of last minute, but a lot of dudes stepped up, and we're blessed enough to have a lot of interest in our program in the area. But the biggest thing I needed to do with all of my groups is get taller. And that is something in Kansas City that you don't have a whole lot of. And I like to train everyone as a guard regardless. So we've gotten a lot taller. We've gotten a lot bigger. We like to move the ball and play free, play together, because no one wants to watch just someone ISO the whole time. So I like to, like my 16s probably move the ball the best. My 17s, I haven't even had that team at full strength yet. I've been missing kids all week and then lost a few guys to injury. And my 15, they're freshmen, right? So they're building, they're learning, ton of talent there. And I was proud of them going 4-0 this weekend.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Talking about that 17U group, I know Trevor Garlington is one of your lead guards. He went out with an injury. Wish him a speedy recovery. But Jalen Watson and London Burton in that backcourt are maybe one of the best on the entire circuit. Talk about them and their kind of dynamic as a duo.
For sure. So Jalen's returning from last year, so he kind of knows what we were about. And I've been watching London since he was, 15U at Aquinas. I know the coach up there really well. And that's what I've kind of been telling them the whole time too. I said, you guys could be one of the best backcourts in the circuit. Definitely one of the most athletic, both being smaller guards, but can easily get up and dunk on you and punch it. But they are also, Jalen's an all-state guy. London's an all-state guy. They play well off of each other. We didn't have London last week when we went 2-2. Having him back this week, I mean, he's a winner. He makes big time shots. And then with Jalen, I trust Jalen with my life. I had him last year with the ball in his hands. Kid is always smiling on the court. Sometimes, when I first coached him, I was like, is he even taking it seriously? But he is. Like when the going gets tough, like you can rely on those guys and lean on those guys a lot. Because they are high level guys, both with D1 interest already. And I think just with the platform that we have on the circuit and the support you guys give us is, I think, the sky's the limit for those two.
For sure. Another kid on that 17U team is JJ Lee, 7 foot big, big matchup problem. Talk about him and how you kind of see his projection long term.
Yeah. So JJ, I've known him since he was a freshman too. Finally got him this year playing with us. Having a footer, you can't coach that, right? He's only been playing basketball for 3 years.
Wow.
And every time he gets out on the court, he gets better and better and better. Being able to have him come out and set screens, just his presence inside, they will, makes defenses collapse on him. He kicks out, he finishes well. I need him to just turn around and start dunking it. He doesn't, I don't think we've just scratched the surface of where he's going to be by the end of the summer. But he's a 7-footer that can hit free throws, so you can't even hack a shack him. I think once people kind of figure out who he is, and what he brings to the table, that he will, his stock will skyrocket.
For sure.
He's a gentle giant though, so
best types. For sure. Moving, I do have to ask. I mean, kind of in the 16U, as far as some of the players there. Max Moylan.
Yeah,
Moylan. Yeah, can you describe a little bit about his game? Kind of what has impressed you so far? Obviously, they've been a really good squad.
Yeah. So we actually partnered with a youth program recently, and Max played with that youth program. Coach Huber, he's a Kansas City coach and legend. I have a few other guys on the team as well. Max, I make jokes to him because I say he looks like he sells insurance, because sometimes he doesn't pass the eye test. But I mean, you guys are showing our highlights from MPJ. We got a great win against a Pro16 team, a good Pro16 team, and Max, number 10 right there. I gave him the task of guarding Amari, who's probably one of the best guards in the 16U, up and down. Already got a couple of D1 offers, and Max was up for the challenge. All school season, he plays at Rockhurst High School. He started there. He just does all the little things right. We kind of call him a mini Stockton a little bit, and he did a great job on him. And he guards the best guy every time. He hits open threes. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a coach on the court. When I lose my voice, he's the one talking for me. He's awesome.
That's awesome.
On that 16U team, kind of leading the way, obviously, the guys like Cooper Carr is also there, but Kayvon Bonner was maybe the best passer I saw all weekend, making some just unbelievably difficult high-level passes. Talk about him and kind of how you see him going forward. Yeah,
so KB, he's a returner from last year too. Last year, a lot of people were always saying, "Hey, like he can shoot the mess out of the ball. He's one of the best shooters." And I just kept telling people, I was like, he's one of the best playmakers out there. He's a true point guard. He's all legs too, so he's probably going to keep growing. He'll probably end up being like 6'4", 6'5" when he's done growing. Last year he could. He was in a lot of knee pain, stuff like that. Now he's easily punching. But yeah, he sees the court, I think, better than than anyone in my program and in Kansas City. He just knows where to make the right play, and then he can also score when he needs to too. So he's kind of been the leader for us last year, going into this year. And that was a big thing when I was building that team is to bring more guys around kind of that core we brought back. And, so KB can show off his playmaking ability more. Cause I mean, he's a point guard.
That's awesome. Speaking of, I do have to ask him a question about, you were talking about your kind of development system and having guards, and what for you as a coach and director is like the most important thing that you look for development wise, like year over year from the players that you coach, kind of moving up the ranks, that you're like, okay, like this is something that stands out to me? Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is you got to build the right culture. And the 17s got to teach the 16s, and the 16s got to teach the 15s. And when it comes to building that culture, is you kind of have to have the pillars that you want. And with AAU basketball, like I don't get to practice every day like a high school team. So, emphasizing getting in the gym, getting in the weight room, making shots, not just shooting shots, to really, because when I'm in the gym, I literally just practice there down the hall right now. We're in the gym right now. But I like to do a lot of team stuff, and because we only get a few hours a week together. But really emphasizing and being able to availability. They say like the best ability is availability. And having the gym available for our guys to get in and make shots and get after it, and really emphasize the skill development on the outside of practice as well. I think a lot of kids will these days watch like highlights. Kids don't even watch full games. They just watch highlights these days. And they think it's just that they can just go out and do it, but they really don't understand like the work that kind of goes and you have to put in. And that's something we do as a program that, you might be more skilled than someone, or they might be more skilled than us. I mean, but they're never going to outwork us, especially on the defensive end. So just kind of, again, just really emphasizing outside of practice stuff. And whether that's just one-on-one with me or a coach or small group, if you really want to find your way into a gym, there's gyms available that are always unlocked. There's something that you can get into, or a coach can get you into it. So really emphasizing that. I like that. Give us sweat equity in there. Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Going back to you were talking about your youngest group, obviously got some really talented kids. One kid that really stood out to me among everyone in the event was Colton Nichols, 6'2" guard. Talk about him and kind of his maturity as a leader as well as a player.
Yeah. So Colton, actually Ethan found him, my money ball guy is what I say, last year when we were just playing in a tournament here in KC, and just getting to know him throughout the year. I know his high school coach really well, Coach Ball at Olathe West. And then getting him in the gym, working with us, and then having him, the trust that he and I have together. I trust the ball in his hands. I trust him to make the right reads. And he trusts me to hold him accountable. He's got a long way to go, but he's 15U. Every 15U kid does. But I see it. And like this weekend, he was super impressive to me. He was kind of the guy, I think he grew quick and was playing a lot of posts when he was younger, but he realizes that if he wants to play in college, he has to be a guard. And he just has worked on his jump shot over and over. And I've challenged him and a couple of other guys to step up and lead in that group to, always be talking, sprint to spots, lead by example. And this weekend he did that. I think it was like our third game. He had a couple like sidestep threes, and I'm like, okay, this is the kid I know. And he started rolling, and when he's out there having fun, it's contagious to everyone else on that team. And he's, the sky's the limit with him. I actually, during our last game when he was doing that stuff, I actually leaned over to my assistant coach. I was like, he could probably like hold his own with our 17U, right, if he plays like this all the time. So just getting the consistency with him, and it's never an issue with him about wanting to be in the gym or wanting to be better. It's more of he wants it so bad that sometimes he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. And to me, I know he doesn't mean it in a bad way, but sometimes other people will be like, why is he walking around like that, like this and this? I'm like, but he did awesome this weekend, and I was the most thing I was proud of him is that his energy and his effort was off the charts.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is
I
awesome.
completely agree with all that, and I actually clipped up some of his film, so I'm going to do a little film breakdown of him just here in a bit. But Corban, I know you have a question that you like to ask coaches.
Oh yeah, I actually switched it up. New week, a new question, Coach. We always like to ask different questions for players and coaches, just kind of get a read of how they are kind of behind the scenes in terms of strategy, games, play, like that sort of thing. So my question for you, as a coach, again, different teams, what is your favorite or go-to action that you kind of like teams, whether it is to get a bucket, a set to generate good offensive looks? What's a go-to action for you that you kind of consider one of your favorites?
Yeah, for sure. I think what I do, and I hate talking about myself, but I love like the X's and O's, man. And I love like watching film, and breaking down and figuring out what other teams don't do well and exploiting that. With different teams too, every team's different. Like my 16U, they move the ball really well. So I like running a lot of like hammer, like I like hammer screens, like drive baseline hammer screen. I like to do a lot of ghost screens with them. And then like with my 17U, I run this play called trail, which is just like a flat ball screen, but you turn the opposite way. And so people just don't realize that it's a screen, and you just and you have Jalen or Trevor at the point guard and just have him run into the back of the guy. And just give Jalen or Trevor a step, and they're so quick, and then they have shooters in the corners. And then with my 15s, I like running like a zoom action, like that down screen into a handoff. Just because, especially in AAU basketball, they don't know how to guard zoom action. So that's kind of my new one that I've been experimenting with, that, and then like the Spain action. I guess the biggest thing is I just watch UConn and Danny Early and just start taking stuff that I see on Twitter. Some of it works and some of it doesn't. It's a little complicated for some of our guys, but then it worked. I think we did this OB this weekend with the Spain action where it leads to a lob, and we threw it to Grady Payton, like a 6'8" kid out of Jeff City for my 16U, and he just got up and just put it down. I'm like, okay. I'm like, let me bank that one.
Yeah,
and let it roll.
That is cool. I think putting in such like intricate offensive principles, or kind of building off your principles and putting in such intricate offensive actions, not only does it stand out, like you said, in AU ball, where it is a lot of freelance and playing to the strengths of your team, but you do have, like you said, I mean, you're running, even when you said hammer, I was like, that's a pretty intricate play. A lot of misdirection, a lot of simple things that really add complexity to your team's offense. And so that was really cool. Thank you for kind of breaking that down and sharing that with us. That's really, really neat to see.
I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff, man. I love it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for coming on, Coach.
For sure.
You guys will be in Indy this weekend again?
We are. Yep. 16U have 2 Pro16 teams that I'm scouting already. So hopefully it's a good weekend again in Indy.
Yeah, I agree. So be tuned. Stay tuned for the ranking updates. I'm sure you'll see a big jump in some of your teams, hopefully.
We're excited to see it. We're excited. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time. Absolutely. Yeah. That was fun. I love going in a little nerdy side with some of those offenses. That was really, really cool.
That's where we really thrive, at least. But
that's the bread and butter for some. That's really, really cool. I love that. And I mean, speaking of X's and O's, you got a little treat for us here, Shanku. We're gonna do a little deep dive here.
Yeah, a little film breakdown. We talked a little bit about him with Coach Liam, Colton Nichols on their 15U squad. Just maturity as a player and as a ball handler really stuck out to me this past weekend. But a few themes that really popped when watching his film was just his feel for the game as well as his spatial awareness. So I just want to break down a few clips from his 3rd and 4th games of this weekend. Okay. So here he is. He's number 2 in the white. Just sees the open space. His man clears to the corner. Attacks the space. Little Barkley post up here. Plays at his own space. It's so tough to really speed him up or slow him down. And then I think he's so impressive how he just always so controlled. Finishes off 2 feet. Easy bucket here.
Nice finish. Offhand too.
And here he is. Again, he sees the space in the middle of the lane, completely empty. He attacks it off the catch. Again, gets to a jump stop. And he recognizes his big stealing his man. And he does a great job creating that passing window through the 2 defenders that he draws once touching the paint with 2 feet. And that's an easy bucket again.
That's great advantage creation. Absolutely.
For sure. I agree. Here he is at the top of the key. His man draws his man, and he's got that tiny driving lane. He attacks it. One dribble pull up. He's got a step on his man, and then he can also hit tough shots along with his incredible playmaking ability. Here he is. I just want to rewind this a little bit. Sets the wide pin down, and then immediately he understands spacing concepts better than most 15-year-olds. Respaces to the corner, attacks the closeout, 2 dribble pull up, and then here he does a great job of rotating his shooting hip and shoulder for proper alignment on this tough jump shot with the hand all in his grill. I mean, That's tough.
That's tough, and he gets it off so quick too.
He does. That's very true. He's got the high release, getting it over defenders' contests. Here he is. His teammate is driving baseline. He draws 2. Colton catches his man ball watching, so he makes a little gut cut through the middle of the lane, opens up the pass, and easy scoring opportunity for him, which he'll punish the defense for every time. Colton Nichols, one of the biggest things about his passing is that he does a great job of never telegraphing his passes to open up passing lanes, manipulating defenders with his eyes with no-look passes. A lot of people will think people make no-look passes to look flashy, but I think it's a great tactic to kind of manipulate the defense and open up passing windows, and Colton Nichols does that really well. So here he is, finds his man cutting, 45 cut, and he kind of looks his man off before hitting him. His man misses the bunny, but, I mean, that's an awesome pass.
That is. And real quick, for those who aren't aware, can you kind of give a brief description of what the 4-5 cut is, 45 cut?
Yeah, so 45 cut. I'm just going to go back a little bit here. Here we go. So Colton gets the ball, and then number 12. There it is. 31, sorry. Makes the cut from slot to the rim. So we have 45-degree angle cut, also called a slot cut, basically just opening up a lane through the middle. Oftentimes when a ball handler on the perimeter will look for an inside pass.
I like that. Okay. Thank you. No, that's really cool for those, like I said, clearing it out, giving that breakdown for some. I love it.
Here's another angle of that nasty no-look pass. Here he is, and then puts it on a dart.
Just a dart.
That's just pretty.
Yeah. And it's like you said, again, drawing the defense away. It's not like you said, it does look nice. Like that highlight's going to look dope, but you freeze the defender for a moment because they're still following the ball and following him retreat. And the ball's just on a beeline. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah. Manipulating the defense, creating advantages, opening up passing windows is the name of the game. So here he is, defensive end, just his feel again. He helps off his man, stunts at the ball. Once he gets to the post, he almost forces a turnover here, recovers swiftly, heavy ball pressure, and then active hands forces the turnover. Here we go again. Just more pace and space stuff. Just playing at his own pace, attacking the high foot here of his defender. So attacking the high foot is a really important skill for guards. So as you see him forces the opposing defender to flip his hips. And once he flips his hips, it's pretty much over. He's already at the rim, and it's an easy finish for him. Just jump stop, pump fake, and easy finish.
Catch him flat-footed. I like that for sure.
Right. Here he is. His motor is another underrated aspect of his game. He plays really hard. And like Coach Wolf said, he wears his heart in his sleeve. Super emotional, but I like that type of player. I don't know about you, Corban. But,
yeah. Oh, I'm with it all the time. That's my go-to. Passion on your sleeve. It's nice.
Right. I agree.
When controlled, for sure.
Sure. It's got to be controlled. Here he is. Anticipation on the inbounds pass, forcing the turnover. And then again, off 2 feet, always playing off 2 feet, always so controlled and balanced. Makes the easy dump off, selfless dump off for the easy bucket. Here he is running the fast break. And again, I'm going to pause it right here. Watch number 1 for the white team, who is running a 1-on-4 in the deep on the defensive end. Colton looks his man off. He's going left, so he turns that number 1 guy, which opens up that pass and that driving lane for his target. And I mean, this is an easy bunny, but
right between the number, yeah.
I mean, it's just technical basketball. Here he is again, running the fast break, showing off the handle. And this is really difficult pass he makes behind the shoulder on target. And then watch him again, just his feel for the game and his spatial awareness. He respaces to the corner. A lot of players will just sit after making this pass. They'll sit in the same spot. He respaces to the corner, gets an open look for three, and he drills it.
That's great. I love if, like you said, even bringing the ball down the way that he did. I mean, it was with speed, but with control. Because I mean, we've seen exactly. I mean, countless times people. I have done it. You know, going full speed to make the control of the pass. You'll go flying. The ball will go sailing out of the pocket. But like you said, not only to have the presence of mind to make such a solid pass, but then, like you said, relocate, space the floor, cash in the opportunity.
100%.
That's dope.
Super mature. IQ for his age is beyond impressive to me. Here he is, more playmaking. This time he gets an entry pass at the elbow, and his little give and go action. His man number 4 makes a little backdoor cut, and this is a tight window. He puts it in the perfect spot at the perfect time for an easy backdoor.
I mean,
that's tough.
That's tough. You said it. Yeah, it's the angle and the timing, because a minute, early or late, and that's a misconnection.
Yeah, the margins are very thin there, and he make it look easy.
Great feel.
Yeah, 100%. Here he is again, and this time he is the screener here in pick and roll. He understands that the defense is switching, so the best way to beat a switch is to slip. He gets open for the layup, and that's just another easy bucket.
Yeah, great spatial awareness.
100%. And here he is. He gets it off the catch, and watch where he gathers the ball here. He sees 2 defenders. That left guy at the nail is helping in, trying to close the gap. But watch this stride. He lunges towards the rim, picks it up, and then lunges, playing off 2 feet again, drawing a foul. I mean, that's so tough for 15.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And for those, again, I mean, some of y'all, I'm sure know, but the nail either side extended of that free throw line.
Yeah.
Like just where the nail.
Going back here.
Exactly, right there. So
he's helping at the nail, but squeezes through the defense, splits the defense, and gets to 2 feet and draws the foul.
And great gather. Yeah. That first step is deceptively quick, it looks like, because how many times have we seen from the clips you've already broken down, Shanku, him take a first step and stop and pop, take a first step and get to the rim. Like, it doesn't look super fast in the moment, but yet he's one step ahead of the defense.
I agree, 100%. He understands the angles really well. But just to finish off, just his leadership on the court, I talked to him after the game. I talked to his dad, both very respectable people. And just after this third game of the weekend, he went and he just said thank you to the refs. And that's just such a small thing that goes a long way. But then watch him after he does that. A few of his teammates start walking back to the bench, but he goes and tells them to the rest, which
there you go.
I mean, that just speaks to his character and a leader. So
I love that.
I look forward to watching over the next 3 years as he grows and develops his game.
Yeah, I mean, you've already shown so much that he's already kind of showed in the age he is right now to continue the growth, to continue development, to continue the leadership. That's dope. And I love, especially, I saw it a few times in Centralia as well. A few players go and talk to the ref, and I appreciate that. Like, shout out to Team B Will for that, because that happened a lot. And I think after a contested game, the refs aren't getting your thank yous in the middle of the game, right? Yeah. But to come afterwards and do that's really cool. And in this case, not only to do that, but to tell your teammates, go show that love too. Go show that respect as well. It's a small thing, but like you said, it speaks to the leadership of him and also the sportsmanship.
Yeah, 100%.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to break down Colton Nichols. He might not stand out watching him live. He's not the most athletic, not the most physical guy. But like I said, the main themes I wanted to focus on were the spatial awareness, the feel, the passing, the timing. Just everything's so advanced and mature for his age. He's so far along where his development should be. So he's a player I look forward to watching too for a long time.
Yeah, no, and honestly, Shanku, thank you so much for that segment of breaking it down. That was really cool. I like seeing the play in real time. So many times you see highlights, right? And you don't really see how the sausage is made, so to speak, right? How the bread is buttered. I'm going to use all the allegories here, but basically like how it's done and what leads to the advanced creation, to the no-look pass. And so I think segments like this really highlight the technical breakdown of basketball. And I mean, we see teams play it. We know coaches teach it. We know players learn it. But as we're doing the show, I think it's important to have that context as well. And it makes more educated fans as we're watching the play happen to break it down and see it. So really appreciate the insight there for sure, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you said, to the untrained eye, it's definitely tough to see all these small details, but
Mhm.
players are so advanced and so technically sound. I just wanted to highlight that, especially
Yeah.
going forward to the next level. A lot of college coaches look at those stuff.
Exactly. And one way to be a better looker of ball, as it were, is to look at the play and look at the film and slow it down. And it's not always the most glamorous thing, but it really does show different, trends in basketball. At the end of the day, nothing really new under the sun in basketball. But how it's disguised and the different action, the defense, and how it's done. I think again, segments like this, I'm excited to have more of this really kind of show that, I think really make us all more educated viewers and fans of the sport.
Yeah, I completely agree. I look forward to doing this more in the future as well.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, I think I want to go into just the 4-0 teams, show them some love. There was a few of them in Centralia for the 17U group, starting with Team Spates, who made their debut weekend. They're, I think, sponsored by Maurice Spates, former NBA champion with the Warriors.
The Warriors and the Orlando Magic, but we don't talk about that. I'm just kidding.
Orlando Magic.
He played with the Clippers too. Anyway, yes, he was his heyday was with the Warriors. Big, good stretch, big, really, knocking it down. Mo Buckets, as they used to call him.
Mo Buckets, yes.
Mo Buckets.
But his team, his 17U team, went 4-0. They went their first 3 games were pretty comfortable. They cruised. They were tested in their final game. They faced some adversity. They battled through it. They're led by their lead guard, Jacob Daniels, who holds a Division I offer from Georgia Southern. He's a super crafty point guard, shifty. He's got a nice hesitation move, which allows him to get to the rim, get to the mid-range. Can shoot it off the catch from the three-point line as well. So that's a team who we'll likely see in the top 16 going forward.
Like that, for sure. I mean, one way to take care of business, as always, for the 4-0 teams, but also you love to see a guard with some shiftiness there.
For sure.
There's another team up in that same region that also finished 4-0. Talk about KC Red Storm? Or am I getting that? No, that's 16U, my mistake.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Who's next on the 17U side?
Was Steve Warwick, who was also 4-0. They're led by maybe the best prospect, one of the best prospects, I'll say, on our circuit, in Griffin Goodberry out of South Dakota. He's a 6'10". He plays like a wing, really. He can space the floor, shoots the 3-ball at a high clip. He can play inside. He's a really good connective playmaker, making good reads out of the post when getting doubled. And then his length plus wingspan, protecting the rim, great mobility for his size. He's definitely a player I'll be focusing on going forward. He already holds 2 Division I offers from schools in his area.
Oh, that is awesome. Let's talk about the rest of 17U. You got the list, Shanku. Let's get it going.
Yeah. So Strictly Ballas was one of the teams that went 4-0. They had a really good weekend. They were pretty dominant. They faced one of their notable wins was against Como TNT, who has a great player in Keon Cross. They took care of business though, finishing out their 3rd and 4th games in 10-point margin victories. So
okay, gotta love that. I mean, as a fan of close basketball, I love to see a tight game. But if you're a team that can get in there, take care of business, don't play with your food, as I like to say.
I agree. I completely agree. Another team that took care of business was CBA South. They went 4-0. Pretty much every other game was a blowout except against Iowa Barnstormers Black, who has a really lethal shooting backcourt in Keegan Steeg and Jordan Townsend. But they pulled out that game 52-50, so that was a big win for them.
For sure. Any other 17U teams we're gonna show some love to here that were undefeated up in your area?
Yeah. So KB Elite, they were the final 4-0 team that went undefeated. They had a few close wins against Top Notch Stars and 816 Hoops Greenberg. So those were, I think, 3-point wins. So obviously they pulled out some clutch wins in crunch time, which is awesome to see. Yeah.
Again, in the clutch time, defensive possessions matter all the more. Fatigue is getting up in there, to be able to close it out. I always give respect to teams that take care of close games, especially, 100%. Being a fan of some teams I know that in the NBA that, didn't do it.
Sorry about your Lakers. I'm sorry.
Listen. Oh my gosh. Sorry, if we're going to take a brief second, I know we get right back to it. That game, I lost my mind. Okay. As a Laker fan, take care of business. Okay, we're moving right along. This is the next pro show, not the Lakers show, but I couldn't help it. Y'all know, y'all watch it, y'all know. Okay, let's go on to 16U, my friend. Let's start with who we got? We got Lincoln Supreme.
Yeah. So Lincoln Supreme, their second group, as well actually was their first group. They both went undefeated. Lincoln Supreme were led by Kobe Kerr, who is a big wing, 6'4". He averaged 21 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, 4 blocks. He flashed some tough shot making, but did most of his damage around the rim as a play finisher. He was also a big-time rebounder for his size. And then he also had 4 blocks, which is testament to his instincts and kind of his physicality on the defensive end.
I like that for sure. Another team that also went undefeated, PAC.
Yeah.
PAC?
Yeah, PAC.
Yeah, I think either way I'm okay, right? But PAC is what we're going with.
Yep, I think it's PAC.
I think it's PAC. PAC actually doesn't sound right. PAC. Okay, anyway, let's talk about PAC.
Yeah, so I just like to Coach Wolf, but his 16U group is undefeated on our circuit as a whole, going 8-0 so far. They'll be in Indy in Pool A, so I'm excited to see how they fare against higher level competition. But guys like Kayvon Bonner, Grady Patton, Cooper Carr, Zach Fritz, they all stood out among many others for that team.
That's awesome for sure. Again, taking care of business, getting a win, going 4-0, and going 8-0. Like, you haven't lost a game yet. Like that. Yeah. I mean, especially when as we get deeper in this, they know, like we do, that they're going to get every team's best shot.
Yeah.
Because, one, they're trying to get a win, but two, really? 8-0? Okay, let's be that 8-1. So look forward to seeing them.
Wins does include a Pro16 win against MPJ Elite, who went 3-1. So they were their only loss, which speaks volumes about how talented they are as a team, competing against the sponsored teams as well. Absolutely.
Now we can talk about KC Red Storm.
Yeah. So KC Red Storm, they held it down. One of their notable wins was against 816 Hoops Ubel. And that was really their closest game, 67-58. So they really took care of business. So I'm excited to see how they fare in a higher group play.
Yeah, no, most certainly. Again, another team that did not play with their food. Speaking of that, Lincoln Supreme, they apparently really took that to a whole nother level. Please tell us about that.
Yeah, so they blew out every team. They were in Pool E this past weekend, and I can tell you one thing for sure: they're not a Pool E team. They're Pool A, Pool B team. They won every game by 30 plus. I mean, it really wasn't close. I felt bad for kind of the other teams that they were kind of misscheduled almost, but they'll be in a higher pool next weekend.
Hey, there you go. Listen, setting up for a moving up the ladder. I was gonna give a Jefferson's reference, but I don't know if this is a cop for that. Shout out to the Jeffersons. Okay, lastly, as far as 16U, we got the Chaos of Oklahoma. What do we have on the Oklahoma Chaos? Shout out to them for also going undefeated.
Yeah, Oklahoma Chaos is also off to a great start. Their 16U Bruner group, led by Fabian Harris, who's their leading scorer, but he can play on or off the ball. He's a great spot-up shooter. He's got high feel off the ball, making quick and accurate decisions as a connector. He defends hard on the perimeter. And, I mean, he's had an awesome start to this season. So I'm excited to see how he grows.
That's definitely cool. And again, like you said, as we do these younger teams, I like seeing, like you said, as they grow. Because we're going to see that both within the remainder of this season, but also moving forward. So
exactly.
Really good. All right, now we're moving on to 15U. We got Team Warwick, another team. Again, didn't play with their food. What do we have on them, Shanku?
Yeah, so their closest game was 13 points. They really handled business. But Fahmy Youssef, I hope I'm pronouncing Fahmy. It's either Fahmy or Fahmy. But he is a 6'3" guard. As a class of 2027 freshman, here's some film of him, but he's a D1 kid in my opinion. And I wouldn't be surprised if he starts getting interest or even offers as soon as this summer. Super athletic, great playmaker in the open court, as you can see there. Playing above the rim, two-way guard, plays hard on the defensive end, good motor, playmaker on the defensive end, active hands, good instincts at the point of attack. He can really fill it up in all box score categories.
No, for real. A variety of ways of impacting the game. Always something you love to see, especially at this level.
For sure.
Because there's only room to grow, Stop going up. Let's talk about Nebraska Supreme, another team that, definitely generated a little bit of separation in their wins.
Yeah, so Nebraska Supreme, I believe it's still undefeated now after going 4-0. They were led by their most consistent player in Shane Holland, and he's a very unique guard at 6'2". He averaged 12 points a game on 72% shooting from the field. But the interesting thing about him is I don't think he hit 1 3 across all 4 games. And to be that efficient while not hitting any threes is really just unprecedented for a guard. He's got to the bucket at will. He's got really good understanding of angles. He's not the most athletic, but he can get to the rim. He's got incredible touch around the rim, finishes through traffic, great ball control, body control. So he'll be a player I watch among many others on that team.
For sure. You also have Pac, 15U as well. That again, just like we had in the 16U, took care of business.
Yeah. So I talked about Colton Nichols. I don't want to go too much into him, but Liam Tesmer is another guard for them, 5'9", kind of a more built guard. He likes to create advantages off the dribble, gets to the paint often, and just makes really smart decisions with the ball. High assist to turnover ratio, just really good at creating passing angles, whether it's dumping off to his big or kicking out to his shooters, just making the right play and creating easy looks for his team.
I like that for sure. You had 2 teams in Missouri, Missouri Flight Black and the Missouri Hawks, both separate, both 4-0. Both seem to have taken care of business as well. Although I think Flight Black actually had a really close game. Yeah,
they did. They went 4-0. Most of the other 3 games they cruised, but against SW Iowa Impact, they pulled out a gritty 73-71 win against a team that can really shoot the ball and fill it up. They gave Pac a really close game. So that was a big win for Missouri Flight Black.
Definitely. And Alabama Generals, now they were the opposite. They got the 4-0, but they had some tight games in between that.
For sure. They were definitely a team that raised their level in crunch time. They pulled out 3 wins that were within 6 points. So like I talked about the margins, they're so thin, especially in those close games, and they pulled it out. So
I love it. Yeah. Crunch time. Get it done. Let's go.
I like the Nuggets. They're like the Nuggets.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Too soon, bro. Too soon.
Right.
And then last, let's talk about before we get into our 14U in middle school, Lincoln Supreme.
Yeah. So they were in the bottom pool, but I don't think they'll be there for long. They won every game comfortably by 22 points or more. They took care of business, and I'm excited to see how they do against better competition going forward.
Yeah. Way to rise, way to take, like you said, way to take care of business.
Play with their food. They didn't play with their food.
They didn't play with their food. No, I hope the Lakers won't in LA. Okay, that's the last Laker reference for this show. But let's please share the team. Shout out to the 14U and middle school. Shanku, let's name the teams that went for greatness this weekend.
Yeah, just real quick, just the 14U teams. I went undefeated, Road to Greatness, BTI Pressure Elite, Peoria Pride, SEMO Basketball Club, and then Team Oklahoma was dominant, winning every game, 27 points or more. They took care of business.
Yeah, they didn't mess around. And then middle school, we had a couple of squads also take care of business down there as well.
Yeah, for sure. Team Warwick, 13U and 12U, as well as the GSA Vipers 13U squad, both went undefeated. And I just got to give a huge shout out to Team Warwick. Even their younger groups, they play such a advanced brand of basketball, just moving without the ball. Like we talked about with Coach Wolf, they run some awesome actions that should not be allowed at the 13U level because they're just getting open look after open look, and they're dominating the competition.
That is awesome. That's awesome. And like you said, I love teams that run actions starting out because one, you just are much more prepared at higher levels. It is kind of sad, playing teams. They're just getting out there. We're just learning, and they're getting a very very tough education there.
A harsh learning lesson.
Exactly. But moving on from where you were to Centralia, I want to give a shout out to the undefeated teams as well. First of all, this is my first time up in Centralia. Really nice area. I really enjoyed. That's one thing I've definitely enjoyed. Obviously, the basketball is great. Meeting parents, meeting players. I had a great conversation with the refs at a certain point. I was able to talk about Pro16 and everything, which is really really kind of cool. But again, you had teams that took care of business, and I'm gonna start middle school and actually work my way up. So middle school, we had Team Bill. Wow, we had Team B Will. Urban reading. Team B Will. The world, and they went undefeated, and then we also had World Class Renegades, both 11U and 13. also took care of business and did it in dominant fashion as well. So way to be for them. 14U, you had Select Basketball. Listen, they hammer teams. I was able to watch a little bit of their games, and I was just blown away. Each game they played, they won by at least 20. It wasn't close. It probably wasn't fun for the opposition, but shout out to Select 14U for taking care of business on that for sure. 15U had Select Basketball in the 15U go undefeated, and you also had Exposure Sports. And honestly, I thought it was a typo because they had 6 games, and I was like, 6 games, like where? And we looked up the scores, and they played 6 games according to SC Tourney. So shout out to them. Not only did they go 6-0, they did most in dominant fashion. Although their last win, they got by 1 point. Wow. But honestly, way to run the table. However you get it done. That's how I like to look at it.
Pretty tired playing more games than everyone else.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Exposure, both teams. We're going to talk. There's their 15U, but their 16U also. Let's talk about their 16U. You had Exposure Sports also went 6-0. You had South Washington Select, and then you had South Washington Select, not to be confused with Select Basketball Pro16, who also went undefeated, and then Rose City Ballers. And I want to shout out, of course, Exposure Sports, another 6-0 team. Again, wow. And like looking at it, to have 3 games on a Saturday, way to get it done. But Rose City Ballers, they took care of business. Their closest win was by 9 points. Just way to come in and get it done. And I think, again, dominant play, especially on a weekend when game in, game out, teams are trying to give you their best foot forward and give you their best effort. Way to get it done. And in 17U, quite a few teams. So Juice County players, undefeated. Team Supreme, NXT 17U, undefeated. Select Basketball, Henshaw, undefeated. You had Select Basketball Pro 16, undefeated. And you're going to hear it again. Select Basketball, Jansen, undefeated. And also, Clutch Elite, they also went undefeated. So again, 17U, there was quite a few good games up and down this weekend, but there was a lot from 17 that I really enjoyed. I wanted to first shout out Select Basketball Jansen. We already had both coach on and one of their players on last week, and that was really, really fun to have on. But listen, they had the game, in my opinion, the game of the session from what I saw on Friday night against Select Basketball, which was or Supreme, sorry, Team Supreme, which was tough. It was a back and forth game. You had great shot making. I think Quincy Everson for Team Supreme. I'll talk about him in a second, but he was on fire from deep, and they were coming at it. They were talking. I love a little chippiness, right? But Select stayed in. They stayed to the principles. They played the way that they do. The game got tight. Both teams back and forth. Great defensive plays on both sides, and then finally, literally a game-winning floater at the buzzer by Tristan Fortin to get the win. And that was fun because I looking at it, just Team Select, the floater was not going down for all the shots they were making. There was a lot of floaters. It was like they would get a edge in, float it up, and it wasn't going in. And that one, like, they made it when it counts, right? The definition of making it when it counts.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. But Select Jansen also had a really good, tough 1-point win over the Oregon Prospects. And again, just showing different ways of getting it done. Another weekend where they went undefeated, a lot closer, a lot better competition in terms of the quality of game. No disrespect to the competition. Everyone they play is good competition. But in terms of the quality of game going down to the wire. But again, way to get it done. And then Clutch Elite, Jalen Valdez, 2025 combo guard, got buckets all weekend long. Really cool to see. Defensively, I liked his activity as well, but he was someone that was able to kind of get just how you want it. Inside, outside, toward the end of one of the matchups, I remember him like sizing up a guy, going between the legs a couple times, like shake and bake, and then just rising and firing and knocking down the three. And literally, like the defender, like he created some separation, not enough in my opinion to just go up for it, but then he went up for it, knocked it down, and I was like, why am I talking? He's the one doing the work. Like, way to get it done for sure. Also, Jepta Tambala, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, 6'5", class of 2025, dude put in that paint work all weekend long. Use his size, use his physicality to enforce his will under the rim. He generates second chance opportunities for his team time and again. He looked like a problem to be under the rim. Like, shout out to the opposition for banging with him down there. I wanted no parts of it, and I was watching. Like really, really tough and just really solid play for him. And then just a few guys I wanted to point out that I enjoyed watching this weekend. Not necessarily 4-0, although one of them is, and that was Marcus Combs from Select Jansen. Listen, like, he was always engaged. He was under the rim on offense. He was his strength. He has great athleticism. When you watch him pregame, like the way he gets up for dunks, like he's able to translate that athleticism under the basket and using that again to generate second opportunities, constantly working the glass. And that effort generated second opportunities for Select, who capitalize on them more often than not. And so I think just that ability to be there to, second jumps and quick off the floor on that. In addition to that, I thought he didn't have a lot of opportunities to showcase it, but I like the form of his jumper. I really want to see more of that. I think that, from mid-range from three, it looked really solid. And I think that potential to stretch out to three on a regular basis is there, just based off the ease and the accuracy from what I saw from his stroke. And so, yeah, just no plays taken off. Hit a nice breakaway dunk that I enjoyed. Just really enjoyed his play. And then Team Supreme, I enjoyed their play all weekend long. Again, they didn't go undefeated, but they balled out. And Quincy Everson, man, the dude's a flamethrower from deep. Like, he can get into his jump shot at any time. He has an easy, repeatable motion. He doesn't need a lot of space to get into it. That ball is up, shot the leather off the ball. And especially the stationary shooter off the catch. Like, give him a moment, he'll give you three. I really thought that was dope. And then another guy I just want to give a shout out to, World Class Renegades. They had, their record, not undefeated, up and down. They played some really good opponents. But I wanted to shout out Jeremiah Harshman. It's my first time really watching him. Dude, the guy doesn't stop talking. I don't mean that disrespectfully. Huh?
He's so fun to watch.
He's so fun to watch. But, I love, he was talking to me, before the game started. I'm like, oh, don't even know you. But, awesome. Talking in the game, communicating. And not just, talking trash, but constantly just active energy, encouraging his teammates, calling out offensive plays, and communicating defensive actions, just nonstop chatter. And I like that. Obviously, I'm a talker, so I can appreciate that. But on the court, the guy got moves, man. Like you said, Shanku, he's downhill. He's electric as a driver. Way to get to the basket. I feel like he gets to the basket at literally any time. I wanted to see him do it more, but I like that he played within the team concept. And selectively went to the basket, but literally I didn't see anyone who could keep him from being a walking paint touch, right? Once he got down there, I thought he made great reads, great lay down passes in the midst of the lane, which was really impressive to see, especially when, from my vantage point, he would cut into the lane, defense close in, the ball would just materialize to the defender that was cutting baseline. Really like seeing that. Also like the jump shot. I wanted to see more of that, especially bouncing it out of the rim attacks, because he's really, really accurate with that J. But his game just seems ready-made to generate efficient, high-quality looks nearly every time. And I thought that was something I really like seeing. So, obviously, I can go along. There was a few players that I really just enjoyed watching across the board that I took notes on. And they were tweets and there were articles, and shout out to them. But I just wanted to throw a few out here on the show because, again, just way to ball, way to play, caught my eye, wanted to give some attention there.
For sure. Yeah. I've seen Jeremiah and a couple of those dudes you mentioned last year. And Jeremiah just plays with such an infectious energy. I'm looking forward to watching him again this season.
Yeah, absolutely. The energy. Like I said, there was a few standouts on every team I mentioned. World Class Renegades had a few, but that just stood out to me just from, like you said, the infectious energy, the enthusiasm on and off the court before and after the game. Really enjoyed that.
100%, yeah. Mm-hmm. Just going forward, just wanted to introduce a new segment that we will be starting. We will go through it today, but it is our top stock risers in terms of teams from this past weekend. So I know I've got a few from St. Louis. I think
we got our stock risers. Stock up, stock down. That'll be a fun segment moving forward because we do watch all the teams, or we do our best to watch all the teams between our tremendous team, our tremendous scouting team and everything. We do have coverage. And so, keeping track of teams that did well, maybe teams that didn't do so well, and trends that we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like, pretty subjective. We are the host of the show. It's not like, we're the end all be all of authority here, but I do think it's a fun segment to really highlight some teams that, you may not have gone 4-0, but there's always takeaways from every team, whether you did good or bad, to move forward with. So I'm definitely excited for the segment.
I agree. Just getting started with PAC. I know we've talked about them a ton, but their 16-year group and their 15-year group, both huge stock risers for me. Their 16-year group is still 8-0. They'll be in Pool A this weekend, facing it off against two more Pro16 teams. So I'm excited to see how they fare. Team Spates, who I also talked about, this was their debut weekend for them. I think they're a team that can really see a lot of success going forward. They've got a lot of size, well coached. They've got talent at the guard spot, talent at the big spot, and talent up and down the roster. So I think they're a team that can potentially win the next finals this year. Nebraska Supreme 15U was the final stock up team for me in St. Louis, they went 4-0. They're still undefeated, and I think there's a chance we see them remain at the top of the Pro 16 rankings this week.
I like that for sure. Wait for them to ball out. For me, I mentioned Supreme, Team Supreme AZ. Love the way they played. Again, their backcourt electric. I think up and down the roster, just really solid plays on both ends. And what I mean is really generating high efficiency looks. Knocking down shots. I already mentioned Quincy Everson. Just being able to get up there and bomb away from deep. But I really enjoyed that. Another squad, the South Bay Snipers. Listen, this team all weekend, I did a player of the game. We all kind of during our tweets do player of the game, guys we spot out. I literally took a picture and one shout the whole team. Like they had a really good team effort game. And there's a few teams I really enjoy watching where it's really dope to see everyone eat. And when I say that, I mean, yes, I love seeing one guy shine. You love seeing, a guy say, okay, I'm gonna help, in a pivotal moment, put the team on my back, or I'm gonna hit a key shot, or whatever the case may be. But to be able to have it where we're generating high quality looks no matter who gets the ball and we all make it happen, I think that is really, really dope. And for me, for South Bay Snipers, I liked the backcourt of Alex Toon and Elijah Thorne. I thought Toon had a couple of creative finishes this weekend. One was a tremendous circus shot in traffic that I really enjoyed. In addition to knocking down shots from downtown and leveraging his ability to get to the basket with the outside shot. Thorne played in a similar way, knocked down shots from deep. I thought his poise and the great shot making between the two was really, really impressive. Let me make sure I get the name right here, but Adveth Krishman, 2025 forward. On both ends, I love the activity of just being somebody who stays under the rim, carving out space for rebounds, using her physicality to get on the boards, and on the offensive end, making timely cuts from the dunker spot, great finishes, reverse layups, that sort of thing. But way to stay active, way to stay in your role, way to stay within the team ethos and do your job well. And I think for a big, a big that I'm sure I haven't seen Krishman stretch the floor. I don't know if he can or can't. I'm not saying he can't, but for someone to be within that role of, okay, every possession, I'm going to the basket. I'm grabbing a rebound, in a good dunking spot. Like I'm making sure, okay, good time, timely cut, boom. I think there's a shout out to be had for that for sure.
For sure.
Yes, absolutely. And then another team, I mean, obviously Select. I mean, listen, they're good. And it's not just Jansen. It's both Select teams. Like they take care of business. They get it done. I already mentioned Marcus Combs, but I was really impressed again with him. Some of these guys for me that pop out, obviously, is getting buckets. I love it. That's the kind of player I enjoy. I'm sure most of us enjoy, seeing that happen. But also the ones who just do the dirty work, right? And not the glamorous work, and realize that that's their role. And yes, I love those who can show that there is more there, But for the good of this team, for who we have, this is the role I'm going to put myself in. I mentioned Tristan Fortin. Did I say that? I hope I said that right. Yeah, I think I said that right. Yeah, like knocking down the game winner again, playing within himself. It was the first time I'd mentioned him on the show, and we've talked about Select for a few times now. But again, moving the ball, playing well, taking advantage. He saw Seam cuts the basket, great floater. Like it's that team basketball. I think that I really enjoy. And another team, I didn't put them on Stock Rising, but I really enjoyed them. Shout out to B Will across the board. But I like the 17U, and I think for me it was the offensive concepts, right? Like seeing intricate actions and being like, wow, okay, and shots didn't go down. That happens, right? But the sometimes the process, obviously you want the results, but the process leading into the results, I think is really, really cool. And to be able to sit on the side and go, wow, like that's a really good action. Like that's that 2K stuff I'll be trying. Like, that's really, really cool. So those are just some teams I wanted to give some love to. And again, like Shanku said, definitely look forward to doing this more. I think it's just really good coverage of teams that we see, and we keep eyes on that. Yeah, you didn't go undefeated, but again, going back to what I said about process and results, like how is the process? How do you look? Maybe you lost on a game winner. Okay, I'm sorry. Like that's still, there's some love. Maybe you just played a team that had a matchup advantage. Let's talk about that. So I definitely think this is a cool segment and wanted to give those teams shout out to them and honestly everyone who competed this weekend. I think it made for good basketball up and down the board for both of us.
Yeah, I completely agree. Next week we will add a stock down section, so that's even more incentive for teams to kind of bring their A game going forward.
Bring it up. Push it up. Push it up.
Yep, I love it.
All right.
To close off our show for today, we've got what everyone's been waiting for, the standings update. And I think, Corban, you want to get started with the 11U?
You know what? Yeah, I'll start with 11, 12. You take 13, 14. I know I'm finishing this one. I know we talked about that. So however we got to do, we'll make it get done. But let's talk about these teams. Let's do the standings, break it down. Starting at number 1, we got the NJ Pirates. Number 2, World Class Renegades. Number 3, DMV Hoop Stars. At 4, we got the Texas Flames Basketball Academy. Number 5 is JH5. Bulls Nation at number 6. We got AAO Flight at number 7. Central Flight at number 8. A lot of taking flight here. At 9, we got Made Prospects. At 10, we got Team B Will. And at 11, hopefully I get this right, we got MPLS Reapers. Yeah, I said that right. I had to make sure. But that is our 11 year. Moving on to 12. I think we just take turns doing 2 at a time. Number 1, we got Team Museum. Number 2 is AAO Flight. Number 3 got Team United Texas. Number 4 is JH5. Porter Basketball Academy is at number 5. Team Warwick sits at number 6. We got Castle Athletics at number 7. We got Central Flight at 8. At number 9, we got Run as One. We got Extreme Pressure sitting at 10. Peoria Pride Athletics at 11. Got a couple of select teams at 12 and 13. South Washington Select at 12. Central Washington Select at 13. We got GSA Canes at 14. Got the Hoop Stars of DMV. The DMV Hoop Stars at 15. And then the GSA Ankle Breakers at 16.
Moving forward to our 13U standings, we've got the Brio Ballers at 1, Run as One at 2, Team Grind at 3, Nebraska Hoops Elite at 4, Louisiana Cardinals at 5, University Hoops at 6, Team B Will at 7, World Class Renegades at 8, and then rounding out the top 16 are Team Warwick, Team GME, Team Oklahoma, Castle Athletics, New Day Elite, Colorado Collective, Epic Academy, and Fam Elite. Moving forward to 14U, we've got JH5 at 1, Brio Ballers at 2, South U at 3, Road to Greatness Gold 4, BTI Pressure Lead at 5, Peoria Pride Athletics at 6, SEMO Basketball Academy Club at 7, Select Basketball Williams at 8, and then rounding out the bottom 8 for the top 16 are the GSA All-Stars, Oklahoma Chaos, Colorado Hard to Guard, Team Warwick, Quad City Shockers, Boxers Basketball Club, Castle Athletics, and EAD Oklahoma.
There we go. Shanku, you play no games with these. You like, here we are, top 8. We got the bottom. Let's keep it moving.
We got it.
Real quick before we move on to the next segment, do want to mention we have some awesome middle school matchups that we definitely look forward to watching. I think Shanku and I have been, trying to watch a lot more. Obviously, 17, 16, 15. A lot of games are played. A lot of our attention's there. But I know I've made a focus this weekend. I know Shanku as well, just like going to different courts and watching different games and just seeing some really good action. So definitely looking forward to seeing some of these middle school matchups, trying to peek in, get a head up in there and see kind of some of these young ballers do what they do. So definitely excited for that.
There's some incredibly skilled young talent in our league, and I'm excited to see how they grow over the next few years.
Absolutely.
The rest of them, yeah.
Absolutely. The development is crazy. Again, looking forward to seeing them continue to move on, but got to start. We start at that middle school, we go up, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting some eyes on that moving up this next weekend. So want to give a shout out to them before we go on to the 15U. And number 1, we got the Oklahoma Wolfpack Mason. I'm going to do a Shanku run through here. And number 2, we got Team Warwick, GSA Heat at 3, Oregon Prospects number 4. Number 5, we got Toronto Select, Team Ish at number 6, Team 94 at number 7, and Exposure Sports at number 8. And for our bottom 8, we got Road to Greatness. JH5 is 10. Houston Apex is at 11. Got Lincoln Supreme 2 at 12. Got Team Utah BLK at 13. PPA Premier at 14. Got the Triangle Offense Elite at 15. And Next Play Skills Academy has that 16 spot.
So just before we get started, I just want to talk about the significance in terms of why these top 16 seeds are so important.
Thank you.
At the end of the year in July, we will have a Pro16 finals in Phoenix, Arizona, and the top 16 next teams will get to participate in Phoenix, as well as the top 16 will also get to participate in Indy for the 17U age division. So I'm excited for that. That's why these top 16 teams are so important. So if the Pro 16 finals were to start today, these top 16 teams would be the ones that make it.
Okay. I like that. One, again, bringing out the significance of that, even for myself, because someone new on the circuit. Wow. Okay, here we are. But that explains it. So, I mean, you got what? The last 4 in, the first 4 out?
Yeah, so the last 4 in right now for the 16-year group are the Factory, Select Wadsworth, Team Utah Black, Team Supreme Black, and then just right outside that bubble in the first 4 out are the Cap City Scrappers, Team Oklahoma, KC Spurs, and Heartwork Elite. So those teams obviously need to get some wins in the coming weeks. Obviously, there's still a lot of time left. Standings, I should say, are still very fluid. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure. Also, randomly, shout out to me for not realizing that BLK is Team Black. Like,
Black.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. I've been BLK, BLT, whatever. Black. Thank you. Yes, there we are. But no, I think that's important. Again, the significance of that. So thank you for bringing that out. And going to the 16U.
Yep.
We got
so
NTX.
just really quick run through.
Yeah.
Of the top 12, NTX Raptors remain at 1, BTI Pressure Elite at 2. Pack Basketball made a huge jump this week. They're now at 3. Florida Bayhawks Bachelor at 4. Rose City Ballers Saferd at 5. Exposure Sports at 6. Oklahoma Wolfpack Lawton at 7. Gainesville Stampede RSE at 8. GSA Elite at 9. Lincoln Supreme 2 at 10. OTP at 11. Team Ish at 12. And those last 4 in, like I just mentioned.
There we go. Love to see that. For sure. And again, the importance of that. So the teams that are around the bubble, there's more incentive, more impetus. Obviously, nobody wants to be at the bottom. So it's not like we're like, oh, well, now you want to rise on up. No. But just knowing where you stand, knowing what you got to do, look at your opponents, think big picture, obviously. But in the moment, let's ground these W's. Plenty of time. Just kind of a status update, if you will.
For sure. Just an added motivation, if you will.
There you go.
Yeah. 17's, like I mentioned, the Pro 16 finals will be in Indy. So these top 16 teams currently are in a good spot.
There we go. 17. We got, let's run through them here. Rogue is at number 1. Got Select Basketball Jansen. We're talking about them doing that work. Number 2. Got Norcross Heat at 3. Team Utah Black at 4. OTP is at 5. Fam Elite SEI is at 6. Clutch Elite is at 7. Got Texas Wildcats at 8. Team FVV Ayers at 9. Iowa Barnstormers Gold at 10. At 11 is Delaware Certified Hoops. At 12, we got the Prominence Elite. 13, Team Spates. Shout out to Mo Buckets. 14, the Alabama Generals. 15, we got J Uno Elite. And at 16 is Hill City Crash. And here you see the graphic of our last 4 in and first 4 out. So right now we see the last 4 in. If it were to start right now, got Team Spates, Alabama Generals, J Uno Elite, and Hill City Crash. Shout out to y'all. As of right now, y'all are still safe. And the first 4, first 4 out, Unity Sports Academy, Grassroots North Carolina, Fam Elite Morris, and Juice County players. Fortunately, this isn't where it's at. So it's not starting right now. But if it were, again, little stats update of where you are. So, plenty of room, plenty of time to keep moving on up. I definitely think that it does add to the importance of here we are right now, and this is where we can be, and maybe this is where we are. But again, as we kind of put context as to what ultimately this kind of tournament kind of culminates in, I think it is kind of cool to know where you stand.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Absolutely. For sure. Well, speaking of knowing where we stand at the close of our show here on the Next Pro Show. So, as always, Shanku, real quick, before we even close it out, where are you next week?
Yeah, so I will be in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. We have 3 locations. I'll be in North Carolina. Obviously, Indy is our huge one, featuring 7 Pro 16 teams debuts. Obviously, Corban, you will be somewhere else. Where are you at?
I'm staying right here in Colorado. We are up here in Fort Collins.
Okay.
It's going to be a party. I'm sure. I'm pumped. I'm excited. It's literally an hour away, so I'm not really losing anything. And that's going to be great. 2, I'm just excited to see more basketball, right? I think it's going to be fun, as every weekend has been. I think seeing teams compete, seeing great games. I love making connections. I think, Shanku, you can speak as well. We met so many great people that watch the show that we've seen in person, and it's really kind of neat. And so shout out to that. Want to encourage people again to continue, Next Pro Top 10. Send us the plays. Let's see some highlights. We love it. I mean, my line, you can keep hitting that up. I love seeing basketball. So I don't speak for both of us, but Shanku, I know you a big fan of it as well. So maybe I do speak for both of us. Anyways, make sure to keep that up. Make sure to keep the energy. Again, appreciate just all the great ball and the experience we're able to have here. So wanted to say that real quick, move forward to next week. But to close the book on this show, for Shanku Nair, I'm Corban Ford. We are Frosty. Y'all stay frosty, and we will talk to y'all next week on the NXTPRO Show.
Yes, sir. Peace.